think it's kind of exciting that you have a brand new asset class.
So we've been talking a lot about gold versus Bitcoin. Everybody has. You love gold. How do you feel about Bitcoin? How do the two compare?
Personally, I'm very skeptical of Bitcoin. I know what the price action is. It's going up, but 10% a day at this point. Look, Bitcoin could go to 20,000. It could go to 30,000. It's on its way to zero, somewhere between 0 and 200. It's a utility token for criminal money launderers, tax evaders. They'll always find some use for it. So it may not go all the way to zero. It's clearly a bubble. It looks like the second biggest bubble in history after Tulip Mania, although at the rate it's going, it'll pass Tulip Mania, in a matter of days. Bigger than the South Sea bubble, bigger than the Mississippi bubble, the New York, the Dow Jones in 1929, Nikkei in 1989. Name your bubble, it's bigger than all of them.
So there's Jim Rickards in 2017 saying that Bitcoin is basically nonsense, nothing, and it's only being used by tax evaders, criminals, money launderers. So today I want to show some of the naysayers and how they've really changed their tune, not on just Bitcoin, but crypto. I think it's very important to go back and look at what people said at certain times, especially in bear markets like now when everybody's turning very bearish. These same arguments always come back. It's almost funny when you've been through 3 bull runs since 2016. This is the Digital Asset Guy. Thank you for being with me tonight. And this is iTrust Capital, the Digital Asset Guy's favorite place to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies and also gold and silver. Wouldn't surprise me if Jim Rickards had an account. I don't know. Anyway, so the market right now, we've had a little... we're basically just ranging. Bitcoin basically just between 70,000 and down to 60. This week we had some nice dipping action where Bitcoin got down around, I think, 63. ETH came down to about 1,800. XRP, the digital asset guy, was able to scoop up some more around $1.35. Will we see an even lower bottom than 3 weeks ago? Who knows? It's totally possible. And if not, and we go off out of this bear market and we've got a XRP at 280 and Ethereum at 2,500, a Bitcoin around 76,000 or something like that, then I'm happy to allocate my last capital I'm willing to put into crypto at those higher prices. But if we get some lower prices, I'll be taking advantage of it. But it does look like we are bottoming in a classic way. Stellar has been down around 15 cents. HBAR around 9 cents. Please remember, anything that I say, show, share, talk about in these videos is not financial advice, just my own personal thoughts and opinions and experiences. Please do not buy or sell anything because of anything that you hear on these videos, strictly for entertainment, educational purposes only. VeChain, the digital asset guy, he personally picked up some VeChain around 0.0072. Will we go lower? Who knows? But I look at it as an opportunity. So we started out with Jim Rickards in 2017, and he's a brilliant guy with economics and gold and currency and things. I'm just saying back then he did not really understand the technology. And here he is a little bit later. Now, instead of calling it blockchain, he's calling it distributed ledger technology. Take a listen.
So here's
That was not me coughing. That was Jim. Let's hear that again.
So here's a preview of the future. When I say the future,
by the way, digital asset guy cannot seem to get rid of this cough. Went back to the doctors, had them listen. They're like, "You're fine," and then they just look at me, and I'm like, "I've been coughing, and I've had like this chronic cough." They listen to my lungs. Oh, it sounds great. It's just winter stuff. It's just a little bit kind of like what has to be wrong for them to do something? I don't know. Anyway, hopefully we get through it. Here is Jim Rickards now talking about distributed ledger technology and how everybody's going to use it, and him coughing at the beginning.
So here's a preview of the future. When I say the future, everything on the slide is already in development or working. So this is not science fiction. This is not something for the 22nd century. It's happening now. Basically, China and Russia are building their own cryptocurrency system. Now, when I say
Wrong. They're building CBDCs, really, which is not a cryptocurrency.
cryptocurrency, don't go out and buy Bitcoin. I don't like Bitcoin. I think it's the worst thing you could do. But the world of
This was in 2018, the worst bear market we've seen, where the price was down. Everybody was, oh, it's never coming back.
cryptocurrencies is not limited to Bitcoin. There are actually over 2,000 cryptocurrencies, some of them quite small. But you could go home tonight with the right software, you could invent your own cryptocurrency called the Icon coin. But
You could, Jim, you're right, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP already have the market captured. Trump made his own coin. Melania. Kanye West made his own coin. You can, but it doesn't mean that it's an XRP or an Ethereum or a Bitcoin, because unless it's going to get $1 trillion in it, like Bitcoin, or hundreds of billions, and people are going to commercially use it, like the company Ripple is using XRP, your coin is not going to compete. So yes, that is true. Anyone can make a coin, but they're not going to be used like these top three because they already have the market captured. Unless something better is going to come and knock them out of their top three spots, and they may switch places. I could see XRP being number one. I could see Ethereum being number one. I could see it going Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin, or Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, or XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. But unless you have a utility, a use case that's better than those top three. Bitcoin is the digital gold. We're holding it as if it were gold. We don't spend gold. We don't use it. Ethereum is the smart contract platform everything's built on. They're ERC20 tokens. That's different than Bitcoin. XRP is the instant settlement, cross-border payment mechanism that's used on the XRP ledger. So they have different use cases. That's like saying don't buy an iPhone because there's just going to be a better phone that comes out. It's probably not going to happen because it's good enough. That's like saying don't use text messages because we'll have something that's 0.2 of a second faster. That could be true, but it's highly unlikely anytime soon. So this guy, he knows what he's talking about with economics and stuff, but I know he doesn't understand cryptocurrency and the technology. Maybe he does now, but when he did these videos, he did not, in my opinion.
The Russia and China are developing their own. What used to be called the blockchain, today people call it the distributed ledger.
Ripple has called it that. That's what we've been trying to tell the world, is the distributed ledger. It's going to be the XRP ledger, not just XRP itself. It's the train tracks that XRP runs on. Other things can run on if it's on that blockchain. So anyway, it's just after a while when you hear all these attacks, every bear market, I think it's good to go back and study some of them and how their tune has changed. You know, here's another guy like this guy, old schooler, Jim Rogers, billionaire investor. He went crazy on crypto, years ago. And it's funny, I can't find any of the videos now. But here it says, Jim Rogers expects all cryptocurrencies to disappear, says Bitcoin will go to zero. I saw so many interviews with this guy on, with this young girl named Sally on Fox Business or whatever. And he's going, Sally, don't you realize these are all fake money and they will ultimately go to zero? They might work for a year or so, but then as soon as the government brings out the guns, they will go to zero. And there were all these interviews that everybody was showing. Now I can't find one of these videos of him saying that. He did not understand the technology. It doesn't matter if they bring out the guns. What are they going to do? Shoot everybody they think has crypto? You can't, it doesn't work. It's not enforceable. Cryptocurrency is data, information on your device. You can't know for sure if someone has it. You can't know if someone does not have it. If someone had it once and then they disposed of it, they still hold some of the dust because there's always dust from every transaction. It's not practical. It's laughable. And it did not happen. It's getting bigger and bigger since he said this in 2018 or whatever in the bear market. Now, here he is after the fact in 2021, his tune's a little different.
When I said I regret I hadn't bought it, listen, anything that goes from $1 to $60,000, I don't care what it's called, I wish I'd bought it. Are you kidding? Anything.
You didn't deserve to buy it. And I know people like you, and I do respect you in other ways, but I've got people, they don't have enough interest in crypto to move their phone, to move their thumb on their phone and check the price maybe once a week. And they don't keep up with the news. They don't watch the coins. And then they call me and say, hey, tell me what to buy. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. This market doesn't care who you are. You have to respect this market. You can't just say, oh, well, if it's going up, I'm going to buy it. That's how you get wrecked. And this is supposed to be one of the best investors in the world or in history, but my point is he did not understand the technology.
That's what I meant when I said I wish I'd bought it. Maybe I would have made a little money or not.
Well, yeah.
And I'm delighted El Salvador is doing this, but if you're hanging your hat...
You can't be in this for the money, Jim. You've got to be in it to understand the technology and the problem it's solving and the utility that it's being used for.
On El Salvador, with all due respect, it's a nice place to go and visit, but it's a country of 6 million people with not much stability and not a lot of smart leadership. So I would hope that somebody would find a better place than El Salvador.
All right. So anyway, but there are other places Bitcoin's being used and crypto. So Digital Asset Investor, this was from 2021. He says governments are going to bring out their tanks before they give up their control of the money supply. That's a quote by Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. That I do agree with it. They will, but with XRP, they're not giving up their control of the money supply. It's going to be a level playing field where it's designed for governments to use because of its utility. And Ripple, the company, they're paving the way to work with the governments, not against them in the banks. And they've been saying that for years. So it's just kind of funny how all of a sudden as this stuff comes together, which, by the way, Ripple got a banking license. Ripple's a bank now. So they're not going to bring out the tanks and the guns because they're not going against the government. That's what we've been trying to tell everybody for like 10 years. And it's just a little frustrating when these people, they've been fighting us on it for years. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I want to buy some now. And I get it now. But they don't have the respect to do the research. There's all kinds of quotes from these guys. This is another one. It'll disappear, go to zero. That's highly unlikely today. Here he is again on another one. Again, he understands investing, but he didn't understand this investment. So here he is with Anthony Scaramucci talking about, this is in 2024, just last November, if it'll play. Let's see.
Could you give one piece of advice to young investors who are just starting? What would it be? This is Carlos from Florida.
Thank you, Carlos. That's an extremely good question, and one I wish I had learned when I was young, too. The first answer is do not listen to hot tips. You're going to hear a lot of hot tips in your investing career. Ignore them. Only invest in what you yourself know a lot about.
Was your little tip you gave us years ago don't buy crypto, it's going to zero, it's going to disappear because the government's going to ban it. Wasn't that kind of a hot tip?
You're going to go to the restaurant on Saturday night and hear a lot of hot tips. Please ignore them. The best advice I can give anybody is only invest in what you yourself know a lot about.
Well, yeah, now, but I don't want to seem like I'm just trying to be mean and make this guy. I respect him a lot as an investor in what he knows, but it's like, hey, then stay in your lane. Don't be coming out here in 2017, 2018 telling everybody it's going to zero. And so that did not happen. I'm sorry. You didn't understand the fundamentals. And then here's our good old buddy, Peter Schiff. I've spoken in person, and I've got I've got him video shorts posted on my YouTube channel, but I chatted with Peter about XRP specifically. But here he says, if you never sell your Bitcoin, what difference does the price make? When it ultimately goes to zero, the percentage loss for all holders will be the same, 100%. The significant difference will be how much you pay, not the price. Those who invest the most will lose the most. This was in 2021. I don't know. And then we've even had another higher bull run since then. Instead of putting laser beams on their eyes, Bitcoin cult members should have been selling some of their Bitcoin. While everyone was laser focused on 100,000, Bitcoin is now closer to zero. Excuse me. And that's when we were in a bear market, when Bitcoin got down as low as 15,000. The digital asset guy bought, even though that was a scary time. But I was there when I bought my first Bitcoin at $2,000. And so every cycle that it's higher, it's just proving, where the trajectory is the opposite, Peter. I'm sorry. Gold is great, and I believe it'll always be around, but gold's as old as the earth. Bitcoin and crypto is about 15 years old, and it has rivaled about a quarter of gold's market cap. That's insane for a new asset to grow that fast. From 0 to 4.5 trillion in 15 years. I'm sorry, it makes no sense to compare Bitcoin to gold at this point, really. The fact that we're doing it shows a lot of fear, I think. And I think gold will be around. As Judy Shelton said, we got to go back to a gold standard, but we'll probably do it in a cryptocurrency sort of way. So lately, just 8 hours ago, apparently Peter Schiff said Bitcoin will crash to 10,000. Based on what, man? I've been in this market. I'm pretty good at calling things and going with the market sentiment. But I don't know why it won't give me a longer time frame here. But yeah, this is like back in 21. But based off what? Why would we go down to 10,000? I mean, that's just like no bear market that we've had. So if I remember when I was saying Bitcoin likes to go back to the past bull market highs that were resistance and turn them into support. Kind of what we're doing here. See this line of this was resistance, then it went and sat on it for a little bit like support, and then we went higher. And then we're coming back down. Same thing happened here. And now we've been sitting around between 60 and 70,000, probably using it as support. I mean, why 10,000? Where's the chart analysis, Pete? And it was strange when I met Peter and kind of teased him a little bit and flirted with his wife. She's very nice, by the way. And Peter was pretty nice, but I started asking him some questions. I said, well, why are you at a Bitcoin and crypto conference? And, well, I mean, I've got to show up. I want to debate people. I mean, why would I not? And then I said, well, Peter, what about XRP? I understand Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is different than XRP. Bitcoin was created to be held like digital gold. XRP was created to be used for its utility. And he does a double take and looks at me real weird and he goes, hey, and puts his hand up. like he's surrendering, and he goes, "Hey, I don't know anything about Ripple and what those guys are doing. They're all the same to me," or something. But the way he looked at me was like, I don't even want to get into this because I know that one's even more likely to be used than Bitcoin or something. I don't know. I'm just saying it was just very strange, and he had to shut it down immediately, and he walked away when I was at his booth in the exhibit hall. I wasn't supposed to get to talk to him because all these people were around him, but I was talking to Mrs. Schiff for a while, and I convinced her to make him talk to me. And I've got some funny pictures that go along with it. All right, so bear with me. In the coughing, I have this special coughing medicine that is supposed to start working here. I think really I just need summer. Cynthia Loomis, this is interesting. Someone's looking for a pardon and doesn't realize the Clarity Act would have you locked up for much longer than 25 years. My legislation couldn't be more different than the bill you tried to buy from Congress over my objection in 2022. We do not need nor want your support. She's saying that to SBF. And I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm trying to figure out what exactly. But those are some fighting words. And there's a lot of shady stuff that went on with SBF and Congress. There's a picture or a video of Maxine Waters blowing him a kiss in Congress. And just a couple years before, she stood up in Congress and said, you know what? We just need to ban this whole Bitcom thing now. And then everybody started laughing. She was calling it Bitcom. Like it was bit.com or something. And then she's blowing him a kiss. All of a sudden, she's pro-crypto, and it's odd. Here's my hero, blockchain backer. Watch his videos. Best chart analyst I've ever seen. I've never seen anyone be so scary accurate. I've learned a lot from him. Here he is with Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. They're at the Wave of Innovation in Australia. That's another XRP conference I'd like to go to someday. Although Australia is not my first choice because they have giant spiders. The digital asset guy is not a fan of spiders. Never have been, never will, but I'm just kidding. But I do hear that I've seen some YouTube shorts of these huge ones. But maybe I can go, and they're not where the conference will be. But here's my hero, BCB and Brad Garlinghouse. Sure hope BCB and Brad Garlinghouse are going to be at XRP Vegas this year. Love to see them. There's just something about meeting your heroes and seeing what they're like in real life, and they're not just behind your computer screen. All right. This video is going pretty long. I'm going to get in trouble with my people who don't like the long videos. Digital Asset Guy out. Thank you for being with me.